top stories tonight. Government insists no ransom paid as Kaduna governor receives released Kuriga school children. Federal government invites Kaduna-based Islamic cleric Gumi for questioning. National Security Advisor confirms escape of Binance regional manager for Africa. Senegal's outgoing president, Macky Sall, congratulates opposition candidate on win. Thank you for joining us. I'm Felicity Ezewike. We begin the news at this hour with news that the federal government of Nigeria has insisted no ransom was paid for the release of the abducted Kuriga children in Kaduna State. Minister of Information Mohammed Idris, who briefed State House Correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting, said the victims secured their freedom through the concerted efforts of security personnel in the country. He said the Nigerian Armed Forces are upping their game and have developed a new strategy to ensure the security of every Nigerian.
President and members of council were happy to note that as promised by Mr. President, these children were reunited or have been rescued from these captives. And as usual, and in keeping with the commitment of Mr. President, no ransom was paid. We are very grateful to the Federal Executive Council and Mr. President are very grateful to especially the National Security Advisor, the service chiefs, and all security agents who participated diligently in ensuring that these kidnapped children are reunited with their families. Government is determined to ensure that the lives and property of all Nigerians are protected at all times. And Mr. President has also charged security agencies to ensure that these kidnappings are brought to a halt finally in this country. Indeed, all those who are participating in these criminal acts will be fished out by the security agencies and will never go unpunished.
To further discuss this, I'm being joined now by social commentator Dayo Fagbulu. Thank you very much, Dayo, for giving us your time. Sharing news for all concerned, especially the family and these children that have been released. What was your immediate thoughts when you heard that the children are now free?
Well, for starters, I think it's probably exciting news. That's the best way to put it, considering the trends in past times where kids have been kidnapped and they haven't been returned, or kids have been kidnapped and returned after a large ransom has been paid, or accidental deaths. So, I mean, 137 kids is a major development and is something, I mean, to be proud of. And I think, you know, it's the excitement is all over town. We're all excited about it, and we look forward to things like this happening, where it's a change from the bad news we used to have. I mean, that's the starting point. The other thing is, it also shows that the security agencies in Nigeria have the capacity to check this trend. It also tells us that the government also has the will, the political will, to bring this trend to an end, and everything accumulates to good news for everybody. I think it's a major development that we should be proud of.
I mean, I personally feel so much relief. I don't know how to explain it. But then there are questions that need to be asked. The celebrations will continue for a while, but pertinent questions like, how is it possible that for weeks it was reported 287 children, or some will say over 200 children went missing? There are concerns that the clarification as to the exact number is just coming now that these children have been released. What are your thoughts on that? Who should be held accountable for this misinformation? One teacher made a figure available to the media, but then it just went off from there.
Well, you must remember that we're not very good when it comes to statistics. This is a Nigerian thing. And as far as the news media is concerned and the reporter, you find out that we have conflicting figures. It's not a Nigerian thing alone. It's a universal thing where there's a discrepancy in numbers or in the data that is made available to us. Having said this, you must understand that because it's a security issue, basically, there may not be full disclosure as we would expect it as civilians. They never told us, what transpired, what systems they engaged with to get them out, where their information sources were from. Basically, there's a part which is intentional. We're not being provided full information as civilians or as a civilian populace because they might require these secrets to pursue the other kidnapped citizens. So I guess I don't expect to have full disclosure under these circumstances. I'm just hoping that they would elevate the situation in such a way that we have a bit more transparency and we have better conversations, which may improve also the security situation moving into the future.
What lessons do you think we can glean from this going forward in terms of protecting our schools, especially in volatile areas like up north?
That basically is more of a security question. And honestly, I don't think there's very much we can do. You must understand that the object of situation now with CAFTA, the free trade zones, is to allow the movement of people, through the countries of Africa to ease trade and to ease development. So, people are going to be crossing borders and people are going to be crossing territories extensively in years to come. I think basically one of the things they can do is to strengthen their capacity to monitor it. And I'm talking about drones, I'm talking about blips in the sky, I'm talking about satellite surveillance. That's the best we can get. We should have surveillance systems out in the air, checking on territories consistently to make sure that these things do not happen again.
As a political watcher, what would you say to the assurances that's being given that the security of every Nigerian is being prioritized, that the security forces will do more? That's a fresh assurance on care from the federal government. Do you feel confident that they will see this through and we will have less cases of kidnapping in the coming days and months?
Well, let's put it this way. More than ever, I feel more assured now because, somebody said something and he got something done. And that's in tangent to what has happened in the past, where empty words were spoken and no results were gotten. So yes, I think we feel a bit more secure now. There's more assurance than ever that this government has the political will and that the security services have whatever it takes. They have the capacity to pursue this agenda. So yes, it's more of a good time, like I said to you earlier on. One has more confidence than we ever had.
Thank you very much for speaking with us.
It's a pleasure.
The federal government says it has invited Kaduna-based Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmed Gumi over his comments on the activities of bandits in the country. This was disclosed by the Minister of Information and Orientation, Mohammed Idris, on Monday while addressing journalists at the State House in Abuja. Idris said Gumi is not above the law, noting that the government has deemed it necessary to invite him for questioning. The cleric had earlier offered to dialogue with bandits who abducted the school children from Kuriga Government Secondary and LEA primary schools in the Chinkum local government area of the state. According to him, Tinubu must not repeat the mistake made by former President Muhammad Buhari, who refused dialogue with bandits. Staying with security matters, calm has been restored in the border area of Lantang North and Mikang local council areas of Plateau State, where a communal clash erupted on Saturday. The clash was said to have started between a Tarok local of Lantang area council and a Tel local of Mikang council area, but escalated into what was described as a communal clash between locals of the two council areas. The clash between the locals of Polong village of Mikang and Fogyalang village of Latang North local government area was confirmed by the Nigerian military forward operation base of Operation Safe Haven headquarters in Jos. According to the security report made available to News Central's Chizoba Anyowe on the deployment of military troops to the affected areas, the miscreants had escaped into the bushes and on the nearby hills for safety. They confirmed that 3 persons sustained injuries, while about 100 cattle were rustled, 24 houses burned, and 7 arrests made. However, no death was recorded. Well, the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mufwang, has described the clashes that erupted in Lantang North and Mikang Local Government Council as unnecessary and unacceptable. In a press statement signed by the Director of Press to the governor, Caleb Mufwang condemned the hostilities, expressing dismay over the conflict. Again, News Central's Chizoba Anyowe, who confirmed that no fewer than 7 persons have been arrested by troops of Operation Safe Haven, tells us more.
Lantang North and Mikang local council areas have been known for their quiet and peaceful coexistence among the locals, not until last Saturday, when this recent incident occurred. According to information from Operation Safe Haven made available to News Central, it was a farmland dispute between 2 young men, which later escalated into the communal clash that engulfed over 20 houses and huts, with more than 100 cattle rustled. The governor underscored the importance of dialogue as the most civilized and effective means of conflict resolution, just as the Commissioner for Information maintained during an interview with journalists.
As a government, we frown against it, and we want to use this opportunity to thank the security agencies, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Nigerian Police Force, the mobile police, and the military. They came handy and they helped us in nibbing this cancerous behavior in the board. So as we speak, peace has been restored, and we pray and hope that it's going to be sustained. And we want to admonish people that when they have issues and challenges like this, there are routes they can take that will not lead into bloodshed. There are peaceful and civil ways of resolving these challenges when they arise.
The governor, who called on security agencies to respond decisively to the incident, urged swift mobilization to the affected areas to prevent any further escalation of the situation. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyowe.
Many thanks, Chizoba. Elder statesman Edwin Clark has condemned the recent killing of soldiers in Delta State, stressing that all hands must be on deck to bring the perpetrators to book. Chief Clark, while speaking on News Central, explained that such an act is barbaric and wicked, adding that the indigents of the small communities involved in the situation are not capable of committing such heinous crime. While reacting to the statement that soldiers were called to de-escalate tensions between the two communities, the elder statesman maintained that the people of Okwama and Okoloba are neighbors that have lived together in harmony for years.
And I do not expect that soldiers or military men or security forces will come to play in these two small communities. Let me make it very clear. Neither Kubama nor Okoloba has the capacity, the ability, and wherewithal to attack the soldiers who visited them in their town. I don't think they have those resources, and this is what it should be investigated, and those responsible to be brought to book. I think the federal government, and particularly the army or the military, should move faster.
Okay.
Because it's getting too long to know who are the people who did it. Even if you get one of them arrested or two,
yes, sir.
Like what is happening in the Soviet Union,
yes, sir.
Or Russia.
Chief, I just want to ask you.
Charge them to court.
Chief Clerk also pointed out that restructuring of the country must be at the forefront of the federal government's agenda to find a lasting solution to the existential crisis in the country. He thereafter called for a revamp of the 1999 Constitution as amended to achieve true federalism in the country.
We need a new constitution or an amended constitution which will give us a true federalism system of government. But so the issue that today we have a constitution, 1999 constitution, prepared by the army, handed over to us, and yet they said the voice of the people of Nigeria, the people say, no, we want a constitution where we are not copying the American system. We just talk about it. What is going on in Nigeria today? We have a unitary form of government where the president of Nigeria is the most powerful president in the world. He is an emperor. He is everything. You see the governors who should remain in their state, running around everywhere, following the president. They cannot do anything without saying, Mr. President says so. Mr. President said we should do so. Even to employ a messenger, president's name must be mentioned. No. This is not what is happening in India. This is not what is happening in Malaysia. This is not what is happening in the United States of America. This is not what is happening in Canada or Australia. When we had the First and Second Republic, federalism was practiced. Each region used the resources that is available to him and spend it to develop his own people.
Okay.
And tax pay to the federal government.
Okay.
So today, we have in Nigeria where the president is the king, is the man who dictates. He's a dictator.
You're watching Tonight. Coming up, NSA confirms escape of Binance regional manager for Africa. We have details after this break. If you've just joined us, you're watching Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. Government insists no ransom paid as Kaduna governor receives released Kuriga school children. Federal government invites Kaduna-based Islamic cleric Gumi for questioning. National Security Advisor confirms escape of Binance regional manager for Africa. Senegal's outgoing president Macky Sall congratulates opposition candidate on win. Good to know you're still with us. The Office of the National Security Advisor has confirmed the escape of Nadeem Anjawala, the Binance regional manager for Africa. A statement by Zakari Mijiyawa, head of strategic communication at UNSA, said preliminary investigation shows that Anjawala fled Nigeria using a smuggled passport. On Monday, a news report stated that the Binance executive escaped from the Abuja guest house where he and his colleague were detained on March 22. He was said to have escaped after guards on duty led him to a nearby mosque for prayers in the spirit of the ongoing Ramadan fast. He is believed to have flown out of Abuja using a Middle Eastern airliner, but how he got on an international flight without his British passport remains unknown. Nigeria's public debt has significantly risen to 97.34 trillion naira in fourth quarter of 2023, recording a 10.7% increase from the preceding quarter. This jump is attributed to government borrowing and loans from international institutions to finance the deficits in the 2024 budget. Compared to 46.52 trillion naira in the fourth quarter of 2022, the Nigerian debt stock has increased by 118%, with more Nigerians growing anxious about the rising national debt. News Central's Perpetual Fasomi Peter speaks to a financial market analyst to ascertain the sustainability or otherwise of the nation's debt burden.
In an unprecedented manner, Nigeria's public debt rose significantly by 118% year-on-year and 10.7% quarter-on-quarter in the fourth quarter of 2023.
Before 2023, the average growth rate of our debt is around 16% per annum. Bear in mind that there was a significant level of devaluation in 2023, and that is what, largely speaking, explains the 110% year-on-year increase.
With Nigeria's population currently pegged at 218 million people, this translates to each Nigerian having a debt burden of 446,000 naira. Although the Debt Management Office expresses confidence in managing the debt, citing plans to boost government revenue, however, questions remain about how it plans to achieve this.
Let's take a look at the debt to GDP ratio, which is currently at around 42.3%. So the one thing that we bear in mind is that that ratio could have been a lot lower at around 34%, if not for the impact of the devaluation of the currency. What is very important is to ensure that we borrow responsibly as a country. We borrow to implement projects that can stimulate economic growth and activities.
A further breakdown of the report shows that Lagos, Delta, and Ogun states recorded the highest amount of public debts in Nigeria, while Ebonyi, Kebbi, and Jigawa recorded the lowest debt stock.
Debt that you will need as a state will be dependent largely on, number one, the level of projects or capital projects that you are embarking on in your state. It will also be reflective of the level of commercial activities or business activities that take place in such a state.
As the government grapples with managing this growing burden, Nigerians will be keenly awaiting the effectiveness of planned revenue-boosting measures in the hope that these efforts will be enough to ensure that debt remains sustainable in the long run. In Lagos, for News Central, Perpetua Fasomi Peter.
Many thanks, Perpetua. Joining me on the news now to discuss this is the CEO, Asha Investment, Dr. Mohammed. Dr., it's good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. The charges against Binance include non-payment of value-added tax, company income tax, and failure to file tax returns. But can these be paid since it never had fiscal presence in Nigeria?
Well, there's a global tax law. You have to pay tax in where you are doing businesses. No matter what, even if you are not in America, you buy a product in America, you pay tax. And so if Nigerians are doing business with you and those business originate from here, there's a need to pay tax. So I don't think that is debatable. It's just that we didn't do what we ought to do, like the Security and Exchange Commission was to make sure that Binance was registered in Nigeria and to be able to conduct any financial dealing. That was not done, and they were not secret about their being in Nigeria. So I think it boiled down to regulators, like we've always said, have been the major problem of a lot of challenges that we have had in this country.
Also noted is the charge that Binance is complicit in aiding customers to evade taxes through its platform. Would Nigeria need the aid of the United States to enforce this and other claims?
No, I don't think so. We are a sovereign nation. We have rules and regulations. We can actually be able to use that rule to judge them and get judgment. Even that same can even apply in a court in the United States or even in the United Kingdom, like we've seen in the P&ID issue. So it's a win for Nigeria if we're able to prove our case beyond reasonable doubt that an infringement was happening. These people did not pay tax. And even you want to know that even if it takes escape tax payment here in Nigeria, they would have been forced to pay personal income tax in their country. That could also put them into a lot of trouble. Maybe as they are not paying tax here, they were not paying tax there. So it's going to be a big issue. We'll have to watch and see how it unfolds, especially with the escape of the regional manager for Africa. So we'll see what happened and what the government is telling us. But I think the government have more evidence to be able to nail Binance. And you must know that Binance is even being tried in countries like the United States. Or presently, they pay the highest corporate fine in the history of America. So they are synonymous with a lot of financial recklessness.
Yeah, I'll have a non-business related question in a bit, but let's try and get your thoughts on this first. Will Binance pay outright, negotiate a sort of settlement, or just call it quits since it has stopped operating in Nigeria? What's your opinion on this?
Whether you stop operating, the time that you operate, you have to pay those taxes. So it's up to them. But if I'm their shoe, I will pay the tax, or I will negotiate with the Nigerian government to pay the tax and then keep operating in Nigeria, because Nigeria remains one of their biggest markets. And if they're out of this country, it will be difficult for a lot of their clients to continue to do business with them.
Just before I let you go, what's your thought on how the Binance regional manager just escaped Nigeria, got into an international flight and left? What's your thought generally on the, how easy it was, it seems, to leave the shore?
I think, Felicity, I've tried to wrap it all through my head all since I heard this news. It's not making sense. It's not enough. I don't know how somebody was given that kind of freedom to go and join these people in prayers, and from there it took a cab or whatever, it took a cab, then went to an international airport, boarded the flight, immigration cleared him with whatever passport they came with. And that's why we keep saying that if government had been open about what they are doing, I don't think we would have been here. If we would have seen a picture of these guys, and the security agent would have had a picture of them and know that these are the people that the government is holding to. So it still beat my imagination how he did it. I mean, it just showed the kind of challenge that our security apparatus have. Because if he has gone to pray, like they said, normally the prayer should not be more than 10 to 15 minutes. Who checked on him when they didn't see him? When did they go to check on him? And when did they alert the authority that he has escaped? So there's a lot of questions that they need to answer. It's like a drama. It's a movie. You watch these things in a movie and you think it doesn't happen, and you see it happening in your country. It's a big shame.
I guess we'll hear more in the coming days. This is Nigeria. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me.
40 families of soldiers murdered amidst the counterinsurgency perpetrated by Boko Haram and ISWAP members in the northeast region have been supported with food items to cushion their needs. This is coming from the 7th Division chapter of the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, Maimalari Cantonment in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. News Center's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
A happy day for the widows as they receive a free 25 kilograms bag of rice, a carton of pasta, and 5 liters of cooking oil. The gesture is said to give the widows a sense of belonging and to appreciate the sacrifices their husbands made to keep Nigeria in peace.
He's already helped me because the small money, if I will use for school fees, I'll buy food. Now I'll use it school fees or buy something that will help children. She really helped us.
By giving me this now, please, you will take me to some months that I can take care of my child. I will use it and feed them. So I'm very, very grateful for these days. I appreciate you. Say thank you. On behalf of the many widows, we say thank you very much for this day.
All of us know that the economy is very hard. The only way we can inspire them is to give a lending hand to them, to show them that we care, so that we can at least bring succor to most of them who are in need.
They smile home with the distributed food items as they hope for more to meet the needs of their children and others who are not opportune to get them.
It's not always like before when we say the female child is not important, their place is in the kitchen. This time around, they can be in the kitchen, they can be everywhere. Because without a woman, there is no nation. With women, we can accelerate, we can progress, and we can build a better nation.
Fostering a bond of friendship and national unity is said to be one of the cornerstones of the Officers' Wives Association, which will aid in maintaining peace. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umori Kirawa.
Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with more news for you. Just stay tuned. News out of Senegal. Outgoing President Macky Sall congratulated opposition candidate Bassirou Diomaye Faye as his successor on Monday, hailing a victory for Senegalese democracy after Faye's rival conceded race. The president salutes the smooth running of the election and congratulates the winner, who the poll trends show as winning. Let's now take some business news from our business desk.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
On Business Tonight, South Africa's consumer confidence for the first quarter of the year saw improvement, largely driven by higher confidence levels among high-income households, signaling a potential gradual recovery in retail sales volumes. The Consumer Confidence Index rose to minus 15 points from minus 17 in the previous quarter and minus 23 a year earlier. Notably, confidence among high-income groups earning over 20,000 South African rand per month increased from minus 19 to minus 14 points. Factors such as reduced load shedding and slower food price inflation contributed to this improvement, although concerns about job losses and fuel price hikes tempered optimism, particularly among low-income households. Consumer caution regarding big-ticket purchases suggests a subdued performance in durable goods sales in the first half of 2024. But I'll tell you that Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion Minister Mthuli Nkubi said Zimbabwe will always have a local currency, even though currently the US dollar is used for 80% of all commerce in the country. Speaking in an interview, Nkubi also said that fiscal and monetary authorities are working on new plans to revive the currency and that the monetary policy statement, which is overdue by 2 months, will be released soon. Last Friday, March 22, the Zimbabwean dollar crossed a notable threshold, falling below 20,000 against the US dollar. This decline occurred after it had previously dropped below the 10,000 level in late January. The local currency was trading at 20,389 per greenback, indicating a cumulative decline of 70% since the beginning of the year. Now, Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has unveiled plans to allow foreign nationals to buy real estate and to open up retailing to international companies. The announcement came as Africa's second most populous country, with about 120 million people, seeks to shore up its finances. Abiy told a meeting of business executives that the legislation was in the final stages of being drafted. In addition, the Prime Minister said the government aimed to ease restrictions in the retail sector and open it up to international players, not just Ethiopians. Currently, foreigners are forbidden from owning either residential or commercial buildings. And that's it on Business News. To stay with us, there's still more to come. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money. Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
We now join Onyinyechi Obaro for some of the latest sports news across Africa.
Thank you, Felicity. In the world of sport,
Super Falcons coach Randy Waldrum has extended invitations to Captain Rasheedat Ajibade, US-based African Player of the Year, Asisato Shwala, and goalkeeper Chiamaka Nnadozie, among a group of 22 players for the crucial two-leg Paris Olympic final qualifying fixture against reigning African champions South Africa next month. Saudi Arabia-based defender Ashley Plumtree and youthful midfielder Deborah Abiodun also made the list. There are recalls from 2019 World Cup star Chidima Okeke and veteran forward Chinwendu Ihezuo, while under-20 defender Shukurat Oladipo got a first-time invitation. The Super Falcons will host the first leg on Friday, 5th of April, at the MKO Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, before flying to Pretoria for the return leg on Tuesday, 9th April. The winner over two legs will earn one of Africa's 2 tickets to this year's Women's Olympic Football Tournament, while Zambia and Morocco contesting for the other tickets on the same dates. Moving away from that, we have Super Eagles duo of Calvin Bassey and Frank Onyeka. They have been ruled out of Nigeria's friendly clash with Mali for Tuesday. The two players have returned to their respective clubs in England for assessment on their injuries. Bassey missed the 2-1 win over Ghana on Friday, while Onyeka, he played the whole direction of the encounter, but he is now set to be unavailable against Mali. The Brentford midfielder played a key role in Nigeria's march to the final of the 2023 African Cup of Nations. He was rated the best tackler in the tournament. Bassey was also impressive in Ivory Coast, playing a pivotal role in the backline that had the best defensive record. Nigeria will take on Mali at 9 p.m. at the State Day Marrakesh in Morocco on Tuesday. The match is part of the team's preparation for the World Cup qualifiers resuming in June. Away from here to the MPFL, the chairman of Abia Warriors FC in Umuahia, John Obu, has demanded for justice following his team's 2-1 defeat at Katsina United on Saturday, 23rd of March 2024. Obu asserted that his team values the points they rightfully earned in the game over the referee's suspension by the NFF refereeing committee. The MPFL Matchday 27 fixture ended in controversy as the referees disallowed Abia Warriors' late goal, which would have been made the match to have been tied 2-2 in a final score. Reports indicate that the referee Abdumalik initially signaled a goal to proceed the tournament, but he proceeded to his central circle to get confirmations. However, reports claim that following a discussion with the match commissioner, the referee reversed that decision, nullifying the goal. Displaced by the referee's decision to overrule the goal, the Nigerian Football Federation Refereeing Development Committee on Monday sanctioned Abdumalik, stepping him down from MPFL games till further notice. And finally, in the world of sport, world number 8 seed Maria Sakkari advanced to her second Miami quarterfinal open via a walkover after number 22 seed Anna Kaliskaya was forced to withdraw ahead of their fourth round match due to a right thigh injury. Both Sakkari and Kaliskaya have been the WTA 1000 finalists this season. Kaliskaya was runner-up in Dubai to Jasmine Paolini, while Sakkari reached the fourth WTA 1000 final last week in Indian Wells, falling to Iga Swiatek. The Greek star previous best Miami performance was a semi-final run in 2021, when she defeated Naomi Osaka before losing to Bianca Andreescu. She will be hoping to get that matchup against either number 4 seed Elena Rybakina or number 17 seed Madison Keys in the quarterfinal of the Miami Open. And there you have it, sport update at this time. I am Onyinyechi Obaro. Back to Felicity.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile. Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Famous artist Davido attributes the success
of today's Nigerian artists to the pioneering sacrifices of icons like Tubaba, the Band, and P-Square. Speaking on a podcast, he highlighted the challenges of international recognition, recalling his own experience with Sunny in 2016. Despite initial skepticism, Davido refused to start afresh, recognizing the value of his established status. He emphasized the importance of current sacrifices for future generations, foreseeing continued growth in Nigerian music. And now, away from the continent, actress Rebel Wilson has unveiled details about her upcoming memoir, Rebel Rising, where she addresses challenging experiences with her former Hollywood colleague. Although she initially kept the individual's identity anonymous, Wilson recently identified her co-star Sacha Baron Cohen as the subject of the discussion. Their collaboration dates back to the 2016 comedy film Grimsby, where Wilson played the girlfriend of Baron Cohen's character. Wilson's decision to reveal this information comes amid attempts to impede the book's publication by the involved party. Despite obstacles, Wilson remains resolute in sharing her story with the public. And that's all on Entertainment Tonight. When I'm back, I'll bring you the updates on what's trending.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Moving away from entertainment news, Binance is trending again. Nadeem Ajawala, a Binance executive detained in Nigeria for alleged tax evasion, has escaped from custody. The government had arrested him and his colleague in February amid a crackdown on cryptocurrency exchanges. Charges against Binance include tax offenses. Ajawala escaped from a guest house in Abuja, reportedly using a Kenyan passport. Authorities are investigating how he obtained it and his intended destination. But of course, Nigerians will always share their thoughts. Let's see what they had to say on X. Wale is saying, I know all traces of citizens' trust in the government has been eroded due to past scandals, but the question we should all be asking about this particular issue is, why is the Binance executive trying to evade justice by all means? No, I will not focus on how he did it, because Nigeria is not the first instance where high profiles get to escape when slammed with charges like this. But for the first time, that Nigeria is actually moving like a bold nation with billions of dollars in potential fines from a big organization like Binance, one would expect people to question if they are truly guilty of the charges against them. I hope he is brought back to book, and if not, the one still in custody should do the trick. Nigeria should go as far as possible to collect the money. Enough damages has been made to our economy. Okay, let's take the next tweet from Papa Wemba. I don't even understand why we ran away. They were fined for evading tax, and they pleaded guilty to these charges. Are there people who are behind this unexplainable escape? And let's take the last tweet from, do we have that tweet? From Iyalaya. She says, he wants to evade tax, and it won't work. That is why they were fined hugely by the US government. You should better run back here. You know, earlier in February, they were actually fined over 4.3 billion US dollars. I hope that as the story unfolds, we get to the roots of this matter with Binance. That's all for tonight on What's Trending. Please join the conversation and share your thoughts across our social media platforms at News Central TV. I am Jadel Simon.
That's all on tonight, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the big stories. Government insists no ransom paid as Kaduna governor receives released Kuriga school children. Federal government has invited Kaduna-based Islamic cleric Gumi for questioning. National Security Advisor has confirmed the escape of Binance regional manager for Africa. We also brought you news that Senegal's outgoing President Macky Sall has congratulated opposition candidate on win. To send your eyewitness reports to the number showing now on your screen, you could follow us on social media at News Central TV. We're live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Apple TV, and on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.